So, when's the exorcist coming around?
You know, it's difficult to get a Catholic priest and an official exorcist into a warship 38,000 years into the future, off onto the far edge of the galaxy. They don't really believe me that I think a demonic entity might be holding on to the ship.
So what's the plan? Keep some holy water and such?
That's the best I can think of, but I'm not a priest. I'm not a holy man in any way, shape, or form. I'm a wretched soul, undeserving of all the good things I've gotten in life.
This is a stressful situation, huh? The ships outside are starting to form what looks like a giant ring.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I'm worried it'll open a rift into the warp or even another realm. Hell, if I end up in the Age of Sigmar setting, I'm gonna need to do a lot of research.
I'm actually scared. Do you think some soul will end up coming at us?
I don't know, I try my best not to make predictions. This shit isn't even in my script. Hell, me yelling at that voice last week wasn't planned. Now it's just talking with us.
Then there's the ships. It's all weird and wild.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what's going on. Look, let's try and just forget it's all happening. Let's talk about this codex.
Yeah, what codex are you talking about?
I'm glad you asked. You know how this was the year of chaos and we don't have a Daemon's Codex yet and we're actually starting to doubt they'll ever exist?
Oh right, yeah, the Chaos Knights Codex just released.
Yeah, Chaos Knights. Now, normally Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights codices release at the same time, but for whatever reason they've been delaying the book for Imperial Knights multiple times. Nobody knows why, because GW doesn't like telling people about things unless it's to investors once a year, maybe. But I got my hands on the Chaos Knights Codex, so I'm gonna be talking about that codex. There's 4 detachments plus the Christmas one. The Christmas one was pretty good. Most of them were good on release, except the T-Suns, and that's good now. Now, one of these detachments actually breaks the normal rules of detachment, so we'll need to talk about that when we get to it. But first, we'll need to talk about the changes to the army rule. Originally, the army rule was all built around making sure the enemy units were battle shocked. Whoop-de-doo. Now, it's similar but adds more to it. It does things with the battle shock. At the start of the game, the Harbingers of Dread army rule starts with the Deathly Terror aura ability. This makes enemy units within 9 inches of your units with the army rule have 1 worse on their leadership characteristic. At the start of the 1st, 3rd, and 5th battle rounds, you can choose 1 more Dread ability, or you can roll 2d6 and get 2 abilities. If you roll, say, 3 on every round, you don't get that multiple times. Those are just cooked rolls. You just lose them. The abilities last until the end of the battle. These are the options, and I'll give their numbers if you decide to roll them. 1 is Despair Aura. It does the same thing as Deathly Terror, but it does stack with that. 2 is Doom, and it makes any attacks that you make that target a battle-shocked unit, you add 1 to the wound roll. Not really necessary given knight weapons, but hey, it always helps to add 1 to wounds. Darkness is 3, and it makes battle-shocked units that attack your knights subtract 1 to hit rolls. Nice! 4 is Dismay Aura, which makes it so any units not at starting strength within 9 inches of your knight have to make a battle shock test. 5 is Delirium Aura, which makes it so units within 9 inches of your knights that are below half strength take a D3 mortal wounds if they've failed battle shock tests.
Emotional, damn it!
And last is Dominion, number 6. It adds 3 inches to all Knight auras. Now, does this include the ability given by this army rule? Yes! Yes, it does! This army also has super heavy walker and dreadblades, but those haven't changed, so I won't go into them. We need to talk about these detachments. Now, before getting into this, I want to point out that War Dogs, all 7 of them, have lost their character keywords for the Stalker, and all of them have lost the battle line keyword. Houndpack Lance is the first detachment, and it's the War Dog detachment. The detachment rules are as follows. It requires at least 3 from this army be War Dogs. The War Dog units also are battle line now, and 3 War Dogs can be chosen to become character units too, and this can be put on any War Dogs at all. Stalker, Brigand, Carnivore, whatever the hell you'd like. The actual detachment rule is Marked Prey, and it lets you choose an enemy unit at the start of your command phase, and any War Dogs unit you have gains sustained hit 1 against it. The enhancements of this detachment are all for War Dogs, so this is made exclusively for the Armiger equivalent. Next is Infernal Lance, with the detachment rule Malefic Surge. In your command phase, 1 or more of your Chaos Knights can make a Malefic Surge. Each one must take a leadership test, and if failed, they take a D3 mortal wounds. They'll then, until the start of your next command phase, they'll be empowered, and that'll allow them to use 1 of 3 abilities once. Unholy Hunger lets a unit move, advance, or fall back 3 inches more. Diabolic Power lets them get lethal hits or sustained hits 1 during their fight or shoot phase. And Unnatural Fortitude gives the unit a 5-up invulnerability save and a Feel No Pain of 6-up. Now, this last one only affects 1 attack made against them, so yeah, last one will be extending life a little bit, but not by much. Lords of Dread is next, and this is the one that breaks the previous rules of detachment. Let's talk about the detachment rule. Tyrannical Court. It improves the objective control of Chaos Knight characters by 2, and allows your Warlord to use Claimed for the Dark God stratagem for 0 command points. This detachment has 6 different enhancements, ranging from a cost of 10 to 35 points. This is a heavy character-based detachment, which Chaos Knights have a lot of them. Abominant, Desecrator, Despoiler, or the Questoris, Rampager, Ruinator, and Tyrant, or Dominus. Used to have War Dog Stalker as well, but that character keyword got removed. And that's not including the Forge World ones as well, the Imperial Armor. But last detachment is Traitorous Lance, and I'm pretty sure this was the index. The detachment rule is Paragons of Terror. At the start of the first battle round, after selecting 1 or more dread abilities to activate for your army, you can select 1 additional one to be selected for your army. But this additional dread ability cannot be randomly selected. You must choose it. So you'll eventually get all 7 abilities unless you choose the abilities with rolls and your dice just hate you. Now, the changes to the Knights recently put them at 1 lower toughness, lower objective control, changes them being bracketed, as it cuts their new lower OC by 1/2, and they're the only vehicles that got this. Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, that is. But they also gained 4 wounds each. These detachments are pretty decent, and the changes are a bit of an upgrade. I know I was flipping out last week about these changes, but apparently that was because of an issue with my phone app. Because there was an issue that accidentally made my app say that all knights lost 1 toughness, 1 wound, and lost OC too. So I made a mistake because my app screwed up for less than a day.
Yay?
But I had a competition on Saturday. I'm not talking about it now because I'm writing this literally the day before the competition. I'll talk about it next week. Hopefully, I'll have to an exorcist by then. Shove off.